Hey, I'm Ashley. This is going to be my second review. Actually, my first book review. I am doing the 50 Shades of Grey trilogy. Right off the bat, I was intrigued with the trilogy because it was hyped up in the media, and I thought it was kind of cool. Although, it's funny thing about me is I try not to read stuff that's been hyped up in the media because I always feel I get disappointed with it. I I try not to conform as far as that goes. It's kind of weird of me, but this intrigued me because I'm a fan of romance novels, and they said it wasn't the typical romance novel. It was more of a I'm trying to think, more of a graphic, kinkier sides, and I was like, okay, that's kind of cool. And but I was a little apprehensive at first because a friend of mine, actually my friend told me, and then it's funny, me and my cousin got into it like about a week ago, actually, that this was based off of a Twilight fanfic. And I rolled my eyes at it because I'm like, God damn it, because I hate Twilight. I'm sorry. Couldn't get into the movies. Tried to read the first book. Pissed me off. I just don't like that. And a lot of people are saying Anna Steele and Christian Grey, who are the main characters in this book, are based off of, what the fuck are those characters in Twilight? Bella and Edward. If Edward was like a guy, like an actual human, and Bella was like, I guess a real person, not one dimensional. But that's a whole nother story, and I don't feel like getting into it. So I was apprehensive to read this trilogy because of that. But I figured, what the hell, let me go ahead and do it, because I broke down and bought the first book, this one right here. And it's written by E.L. James, and right off the bat, it's about a girl. Her name's Anastasia Steele. They call her Anna for short. And she basically, she meets Christian. She's doing an interview with him. Her friend, I think his name Kate, is sick, and she's in charge of the school paper. And Anna does her a favor and does an interview with Christian Grey. He's like a CEO, and he's like a big hot shot. And right away, they have this instant attraction. But one of my main issues with this book is I could not like Anastasia. Like, she's supposed to be the female lead, and I understand she's supposed to be virginal and pure, and she's supposed to be like this naive girl, but I had this really hard time liking her. Like, she's supposed to be in her early 20s, she's about to be a college graduate, and I felt like the way she was written in this book, she could have had a lot more, I don't want to say common sense, it's just the way she was written, she just was unlikable to me. I felt she lacked realism. She was like a real pushover, and I just felt like she could have been more of a spitfire. Like, she had those traits throughout the series. Like, she shoots guns. She knows how to defend herself. She was practically raised by her, I guess, her stepfather. So she has those tomboy-like tendencies. And I'm not saying she could have been written as a tomboy, but it's just the way she had those personality traits, but the way she was acting throughout the book, it's just the dots weren't connecting for me. It's just something about, I could not find myself to like this character at all. She honestly pissed me off, kind of. And I understand this is like her first relationship with Christian Grey, and I guess he's in his late 20s, I guess. And I understand this was her first relationship with him, but she just walked on eggshells, and I guess that kind of struck a chord with me. I guess maybe out of personal experience. Another subject I don't want to get into. It's just, I don't understand why he would find her attractive. Like, I felt her personality, the way she was written, was not compatible with the kind of man he was, because he's a control freak. Maybe because, I understand he was a control freak, and the way she acted, I guess, challenged him, because he was always calling her stubborn, and she didn't 100% conform to being one of his playmates. So I kind of understand why he would probably want her, because she was different than any other woman he's been with. It's just, I just found her very unlikable. And okay, so they meet and they have this instant attraction, and eventually they go out on their first date, and right away he introduces her to his lifestyle. He's basically into bondage, and he's into, I guess, stuff that is not quote unquote vanilla sex, like the standard sex where there's, I guess, no toys and other stuff and like that. And he wants to make her a submissive, and he brings out a contract. And the contract, it just made me laugh. But, I guess he had to legally, because he's, like I said, he's a CEO, he's this big hotshot, but he has this, I guess, this lifestyle that he likes to keep in the dark for natural reasons, and he wants her to be a part of that. And Of course, the contract freaks her out, but she gives up her panties easily. So I don't understand that. That kind of pissed me off too, because I guess I kind of wanted her to play hard to get like a little bit more, but I guess they had to get into the whole let them have sex and let them get into their whole sexual relationship thing. And one thing I found kind of ridiculous, she's supposed to be a virgin. She's actually supposed to be, she's terrified of sex, but the next morning she knows how to give blowjob. That just kind of, I couldn't wrap my head around that. I'm like, okay, you never had sex before. You don't even know you never even seen a penis, but you know how to give head. But, you know, that's a whole nother story. And, you know, the good thing about the book, the sex scenes are graphic, they're vivid. They're actually, the sex scenes are well written, but there's a lot of them, and I got bored with that, which is surprisingly, because I felt like it felt like the writer didn't know how to write an actual story, so she just said, let me just add a bunch of sex, and for that, I felt the book lacked depth. But, you know, however, Anna falls in love with him, of course, and Christian, it's obvious that he's starting to have feelings for her, but he tells her, I can't be that romantic guy that you want. I can't be hearts and candy, but I'll try. And just the way he says, I'll try, it's just, I wasn't convinced. And I actually found Christian to be a little unlikable too. Like, I understand he's a bit of a dark character. It's not even the fact that his dark personality isn't from the fact that he's into bondage. He has his own screwed up issues. He's adopted. He comes up from a fucked up childhood. Like, I get that, but I just felt him unlikable because I felt the way he was written, he was like a little too perfect. Like, okay, he's super rich, he's good looking, he could get whatever he wants, and it's just, I rolled my eyes at it because I'm just like, okay, he's super perfect. Why would he want Anna? And I just felt the way he was written and the way she was written, I just didn't understand out of like why he would find her attractive. Like I said that before, especially because the way she behaved throughout the first book, I just don't understand. I don't understand why he would look to her for like some kind of salvation. Another thing that frustrated me about the book is the use of the author tend to use Anna's subconscious and her inner goddess a lot. Basically, Anna's subconscious is supposed to be, I guess, Anna's analytical side as far as how she views her relationship with Christian, and her inner goddess is her lust for Christian, basically pushing her to say, fuck it, just do whatever you want with him. And it's just, I understand that the author was trying to give the reader some insight to Anna's inner struggle, but she could have written it a lot better. I felt like it came off a little corny, especially like the inner goddess, which was mentioned a lot, and just like the actions of the inner goddess. I'm just like, okay, this bitch again. Seriously? Like, I felt like the author could have written that like a lot better. And actually that made me slightly disappointed with the book. And overall, it was an okay read. Like I said, it was pretty quick. Like, I finished the first book in like a day and a half. And the cool thing about the first book, I guess maybe the only thing that I really liked about it is the way it ended. It draws you into the story. Like, I don't want to get into too much. I don't want to really spoil it. But basically, Christian shows a side of himself that freaks Anna out and kind of knocks her, like, kind of makes her realize, holy shit, what am I getting into? And the way it ended, it kind of hooks you into the story, and it makes you want to pick up the second book, even though you're frustrated with the first book. The way it ends, you're like, holy crap, now I got to figure out what happens with it, like, throughout this whole story. So, you know, overall, it was an okay read. I can see why people would be, like, attracted to it. I guess it'd be a good introduction for people that don't really read romance novels, or people that are hopeless romantics. I'm a hopeless romantic, but I guess in a way I'm kind of jaded. That's probably why I was expecting more from this. But it was okay. It's an okay read. It's kind of quick. It's not the typical romance novel, but it walks that fine line when you get to the second and the third book. But if you're interested in reading it, you can find it at Barnes & Noble. I found it at Walmart for like $12. And I guess, you know, some people say they liked it. I personally, like I said, I was disappointed. But if you're interested, just go ahead and pick it up.